Hey everyone, the next thing we need to do with this code and this Arduino is we're going to add a button because it's not all that useful if your Arduino has to be reset every time you want to play that tone, and maybe you don't want it to play right away. So we're going to add a button to this circuit so that whenever you're ready to play the tone, the music that you've coded up, you can just press that button and it will start playing. We're going to do that, of course, by adding a button. And so I need to, let's see if I can move some of this stuff around, just add a little bit more space. Do that. It looks weird. Good. Do this. We're going to bring that button in. And these buttons are kind of strange, but I believe the contacts go laterally. 1A, 2A, 2B. I have no idea. So we're going to just try this anyway. So I'm going to go from the negative pole of the speaker. I'm going to change the color. Let's not make it green. Let's make it, I don't know, blue, just for fun. And then I'm going to go from here to on the other side of the switch, of this button, up here, over here, and then down to 8. I'm just picking kind of a random, blue again. It's a random pin that we're going to right now. Hopefully when I press this button, it makes contact. I might have to switch the terminal from this one over to 2A maybe? I don't know. We'll find out. Okay, so I've added a button to the circuit. Now we're going to go into the code. We have to code that button in. The way this button works, it's going to take ground, so a negative voltage, if you will, from here, and it's going to apply it to pin 8. And this is it's completing a circuit to a certain extent. It's going to Arduino should be able to sense that when this pin is grounded, and so that's what we're going to put into the code. So I'm going to click on code. It's a good idea to make another copy of your code if you have a chance. You should do that. So we need to add a few things. We're going to add a variable. We're going to call it button. I'm going to put it up at the top just like we did before. Int button. It's going to set it equal to 8 because that is the pin number that it's going to right here. We also have to turn on that pin, much like we did in void setup over here. We made pin 12, we made it an output. We need to make this one not an output, but we need to make it an input. So we're going to do pin mode just like we did before, this function, pin mode. And this time we need a button, right? That's our pin we're working on. We call it button. It's pin 8. And we need to make it an input now. Input in all caps. And then, interestingly enough, we need to make it, there's 2 different types of inputs. There's an input called a pull up, and there's an input called a pull down. It's more of a electrical engineering situation, so right now we're just going to call it a pull up. And it's going to sense when it becomes a negative voltage there. So cool. So we have that pin set up. We could run the simulation. It's going to do nothing at all because we need to put in a situation where the code is actually listening to this pin for it to go negative, and then it's going to do stuff. It's going to play these notes that we already had it set up to play. So we can't do this in the void setup. We can't put what's called a if or else statement or a while loop here, because it's only going to do it once. It's going to say, hey, is that pin negative? If it's not, it's just going to move on with its life and never ever think about it ever again. We want it to think about it every single time. Every few seconds or maybe even a few milliseconds, we want it to say, hey, Has that button been pressed? Has the button been pressed? Has the button been pressed? And so we have to do this in the loop. We're going to do this in this loop here. I'm going to give us some space here. I'm going to type in, and so this is what we do here. It's called a while loop. And so while something is happening, it's going to do something. And we have to give it some information. So we want it to be when the button pin, which is pin 8, when it reads negative, we want it to do some stuff. And so we have to say, listen to that pin. And we do that instead with a digital read function. It's going to read for a positive or a negative, a 1 or a 0. And it's going to read our button pin here. Digital read button. So while digital read button is equal to 0, we're going to want it to do some stuff. Now I've done some stuff here, and I want you to pay attention because this is important. There are 2 equal signs here. This is different than the equal signs up here in our variables. Here we're saying quarter is equal to whole divided by 4. So we are setting something equal to something. That's what one equal sign means, and that's what it means in math, and you've used it your entire life. Now we're in a weird situation where we have this thing that's 2 equal signs, and this is no longer a statement. This is not saying digital read button equals 0. It's asking if digital read button is going to be equal to 0. When you have 2 equal signs like this, it's not a statement, it is a question. It's saying, is it equal to 0? And when it is, it's going to do some stuff. And we have these 2 curly brackets here, just like we did before with the function we created. So we are going to actually move these notes here that we did before. I'm going to control C. I'm going to do a control C here. I'm going to copy them. I'm going to paste them in right there. Control B. And so now I have some more notes. Maybe I'll even double this up. Let's do another one. I have tons of notes here. I'm going to have it play in a moment. So let's look at what my code is supposed to do when I hit the button. It might not work. We'll see. I've defined all these things up here just like before. Then once it's turned on, it's going to go through these noises, and then it should stop altogether. It should stop making noise until I press that button, when it should make a lot more noise. So let's see if that actually works. I'm going to hit start simulation. We'll see if I have any errors. And we don't. It didn't make any sound for some reason. So it's going to be really hard to tell if it worked or not. Okay, so I have sound. Stop the simulation. Let's try it one more time. There it goes. Made a little bit of noise. So let's see if I press that button, if it starts playing some more. And it does. And if you hold the button down, it's just going to play forever. And when you let go, it's going to finish this statement, and then it's going to stop. So that's how we're going to add a button to our circuit. What you should do now is you should put your song that you have coded up into this loop, into this while statement, so that the button can control when it plays and when it doesn't play. And that'll be the next thing you should submit. You should submit a picture of your code with the loop here, and you should have a picture with your button in it as well. And so hopefully this is working for you. If it's not, you should definitely hit up the discussion board and ask some questions so that people can answer them and you can learn how to code a little bit better. All right, that's it for now. This has been fun.